I hope my screen is visible to everyone.
Yes, yes.
Thank you. So here we are today in this webinar where we are going to discuss about network automation, which is these days a kind of like buzzword. I'm your host, and I am having around a decade of experience in our industry related to. I worked related to data center security, and now DevNet environment. Now, the agenda for this webinar would be we are going to discuss that, first of all, why we need to automate, why this is going to be very critical these days, and some basic fundamental of network automation. Then we will see that from where we are going to start and what are the useful tools what we are going to use, and then we will conclude it with the Q&A. So that is going to be the agenda. In between the slides and the theoretical portion, what we are going to discuss, we will have some good practical demonstration as well. So that's about me. I'm having around 12 years of experience, having worked in various organizations, Accenture, BT, as it mentioned, and having multiple certifications. I'm having 3 CCI, security data center, and again, expert, professional, and cybersecurity posture also I work. So now we come up with the idea that why we need to automate on the first hand side. The automation is now, the automation is needed as our infrastructure is growing very rapidly, and it's going to be enormous when we are talking about cloud. So thousands of routers need to be upgraded in a single tight timeline. These kind of situations now and then are occurring to the network engineers. Now, in the early days, like when we are using normal SSH connections and when we are performing upgrades, one can't deny that we can't upgrade more than 5, 6, maybe 10 routers in a day. And when we are talking about cloud kind of environment, or when we are talking about a big giant organization where they are sitting in an MPLS core or something like that. So over there, we are talking about thousands of routers, and the enterprise is now assuming that people who are joining their organization will be productive, efficient, and time-saving people, so that they can grow the business. So in that kind of scenario, you need to be equipped with automation. So that's the answer of the question, that why we need to automate. And how automate, what automate, we are going to be discussed in the subsequent slides. So it will streamline the operation. Now, streamlining operations, that means it will eliminate the repetitive task. Now, when we say eliminating repetitive task, now we can take multiple examples into it. For likewise, when I just onboard any router or any switch initially in our production environment, we see that some hardening required, some kind of SNMP configuration, some kind of syslog configuration, and these are quite common on all the routers. So these are repetitive tasks. These are not the part of the design. These are the part of the hardening. So hardening could be one of the use case, or the onboarding of the device could be one of the use case, which is needed every time when you are implementing any site or making rack and stack some routers, switches, or maybe servers. So in that kind of situation, you need automation. So that could be the rapid environment and configuration setup. So when I said that the timelines are very short, and during the tight timeline, you need to provision tons of devices, and that kind of situation will arise every now and then. Guys, you can deny with me when I'm taking examples, so that we can have a discussion post that. So consistent, talking about consistent deployment. So when we talk about consistent deployment, that means infrastructure definitions are now codified. So consistent, that means throughout your infrastructure. Let's say I talk about management ACL. So talking about, there will be two engineers. One is, let's say, Samir, and the other is Pankaj. There will be two engineers working in different shifts and joining the office. Now think about a situation that Samir thought that the management ACL should be some more entries, and Pankaj thought that it should not be like that. But organization didn't work in that scenario, right? Organization didn't work in that way with the individual thought process. It works on the policies, infrastructure, security, compliance, and too many things. So in that kind of situation, we need to achieve consistency throughout our infrastructure. How we can achieve that? If these kind of people are joining our office, which can change the configuration anytime. We can't deny the human error will be there, and the thought process might be changed. So in that kind of situation, your automation comes into play. Like, the management ACL should be deployed by the automation script, and it can't be changed no matter who is running that script, right? So when the things will be codified, we are able to reduce the risk of human error, as well as we can achieve consistency throughout our infrastructure, right? Then we'll go to the next, the next benefit is like flexible infrastructure component. Now, flexibility, that means anytime the things can be changed, the things can be scaled up. We can do it, quite easier. Like, for example, some RMA comes into play. Like, some devices are going to be changed due to some kind of malfunction in the hardware. So you can immediately take that device out of the rack, and with the help of the automation, or with the help of the scripting, knowledge you gather, you can easily push the new configuration, and your device is up and functional immediately. Now, when we achieve all these things, streamlined operation, rapid environment, consistent deployment, flexible, we can not deny that one can boost the productivity or the efficiency, right? So one who has equipped with this automation stuff, they can easily be able to show their productivity to the organization. They can, and once you get rid of this repetitive task and configuration consistency, so you will be able to offload those kind of, I would say, rather unproductive things from your head, so that you can focus more on innovation and improvement on other stuff, because work is now changed, right? You have already offloaded those configurational related changes with the help of automation. Now, the next point is declarative state management. Declarative state management, that means we have tools available in our automation, which can have a particular state. With the help of that state information, they can push the configuration inside the switches. Now, what over here I'm trying to imply to, for example, you have 1100 or 1012 VLAN to 1030 VLAN available in the switch. It's there. But you want to add some more, but you are not aware of that what will be the range available already on the switch and what you want to add. In that kind of situation, there are some declarative state management tools available, with the help of which it first check the configuration available inside the box, maintain that state in a state file in the tool, and then push what's not available over there. The same thing you can achieve with the help of programming languages as well, for example, Python and all. But over here, if you use programming languages, that could be a problem because you need to write logic to maintain this state, which is already available in the tools. So that kind of situation will be occur in the pipelines. We'll discuss more about it shortly on the subsequent slides. Now, what I have discussed as an overview there before moving to this slide, you can see the same thing I have represented over here in the forms of the icon, like streamline operation achieve, like you can switch your most of your work to the machine and they perform it for you rather than you perform this thing. The machine will take care of the particular thing. Now, rapid, scalable, and all those things we have discussed. You can go through this, go through it quickly, and we'll move to the next slide. I have discussed already this part. Apart from that, faster manual intervention, transparent automation, we can do with the help of the. Now, when we talk about transparent automation, that means whatever configuration, what I'm going to push with the help of with the help of your script, it can be easily peer reviewed with your peer. So that can be achieved with your version control systems. For example, these days we are using GitHub, GitLab, Bitbucket and all. And that can also help you out with the collaborative approach of the development of the script. So let's say you are writing some script and someone wants to add some new feature inside the script, that can be done with the help of peer collaborative approach of the development. Consistent deployment. I talked about consistent deployment. And over here, a very important things come up is idempotent automation. As it's written over here, that processes can be applied repeatedly without altering the outcomes. Let's say you are upgrading, like for example, 5 or 6. Upgrade is quite big. Take an example. Let's say you are creating a loopback interface on routers, and the router range will be started from router 1 to 100. There are 100 of routers, and you are configuring loopback interfaces. Now, in between, something goes wrong, and after 50 or 55 or 60 routers, your script get disconnected, or SSH connection is gone, and the script has not been applied. Now, if you run the script back again, it will be started from the same point 1, and that is something that means the feature of idempotency is not available in your script. Okay. Now, if I say that idempotency is there and the things are pretty much okay, so in that scenario, it maintains the state information in a state file, and it will not be started. It will just check that till what point it has covered the loopback configuration, and then it will be started from router number 51, and that's how it achieves the idempotent automation. Establishing a known state is a part of achieving the idempotent feature. Now, develop and maintain the consistent starting point and operation. That's what I have discussed. Talking about flexible infrastructure component, I have taken an example of Lego sets and built hybrid sculptures. So now, if I say that if you see your infrastructure as a set of Lego creation, now Lego, we all, when we are small and till the date also, if we get some Lego sets, we can create a building or out of it separate structures, and we can easily interchange it because each Lego set is a separate module. Same goes with your infrastructure or your network infrastructure I'm talking about particularly. So some RMA or something happen, it will be becoming completely effortless to make a replacement over there. Just like a Lego piece, you can remove that particular server, particular switch, particular router, particular load balancer, anything which is not performing the way you want, or it's something hardware failure happen, you can easily remove it and push back inside the rack. And just with the help of your automation skill, you can make it up and working in no time. So it gives you the flexible infrastructure component. Simple server building, it can reconstruct the server, whether virtual or physical, doesn't matter, just like new Lego creation. And then network device redeployment, rearranging the Lego blocks. It's all related to that. I just have taken this Lego example so that you can visualize that how we are doing it in that manner. Declarative state management and version controlling system. Now, coming to the last point, why we are automating that, it's declarative state management. So think of your configuration not like early days as just a configuration. Think when you are solving or troubleshooting that you are trying to solve it as a coding problem, not as a normal troubleshooting these days. If you have that thought process, it will be quite easier for you to automate the stuff because you have the use case in your mind. Then embracing the infrastructure as a code principle. Now, infrastructure as a code, like each configuration, each infrastructure devices which in place in our rack or in our data center will be the part of your infrastructure as a code. Taking example infrastructure as a code as Terraform, Ansible, that would be the starting point as ISE devices. Infrastructure as code help you to do configuration management, just like early days of the SNMP. But SNMP has some problems, like it works on a polling and the keep on sending the traps, and it could be a regular problem because it will spike up your CPU utilization in the devices. That's why these come into the picture. Define and manage an environment desired through the code. Utilize Git version control. Version control these days are quite important when we are talking about network automation stuff. Why? Why is it so? Because with the help of the version control, let's say today I have written a code which can only perform the backup, right? But tomorrow, I just want to take backup with with a check that the backup can only be performed when something changed. Now, in the earlier code, it was just like it is taking the backup irrespective there is some change in the code or not, right? But now I want to check first there is a change and then only perform the backup. So it's a feature enhancement inside the same code itself. And someone else come up with that idea. But it doesn't matter. My old code is completely gone. It's not like that. So in that scenario, if let's say developer X has written that previous code and developer Y is enhancing it with the feature set, it will be started collaborating with the help of the version control system. So it will be simply log in to the repository where the code has been put and creating a new branch. With the help of the new branch, it will create that feature set and ask the owner of the initial code to merge those feature sets. That is what we are talking about version. Versioning and traceability and accountability, that who did it, when did it, and why did it. This all things will be available inside that version system. Examples for the version control system will be GitLab, GitHub, Bitbucket, and whatnot. So any other VCS system, if available in the market, you can use it. But these are the one which is quite common. GitHub is the public repository. Enterprise edition is also there. GitLab also a public version, cloud version, as well as the enterprise offline version is also available for your enterprise to use. Talking about declarative state management, come up with the thing that there's a difference between imperative approach and the declarative approach. Imperative approach is something that focus on what and how. It's the difference between what and how. That when we use the declarative approach and how it is different from the imperative one. Focusing on specifying desired outcomes without detailing the steps, it describes what the result should be and not how to achieve. Imperative is how to achieve. That's the basic difference. Both imperative and declarative operators are typically captured in one or more files. That is, we call as a state file. Talking about taking example of Terraform, it's .tf file, it's maintained. And the same thing, those files are also stored in your VCS system, facilitating the collaborative approach of the development. First part, that why to automate, is over here. And we can see that the machine perform the heavy lift for you, the repetitive work for you, so that the human can design. So most of the people, think when automation, comes and people are worried that they might be out of the market if they don't learn it. Yes and no, because the developers are already available. They are working since very long, and they are now giving hands in the enterprise. Network engineers are adopting it very fast, this automation stuff. But yes, not too much in the market still. So it's a good time that you can have this have your hand dirty in starting with. I would say the starting point would be any ISC tool you can pick up, so that you can avoid initial coding, because we network engineers started as network engineering where the coding was not there. To take your interest to the next level, you can start your automation journey with some ISC tool rather than directly jumping on the Python coding. Why I'm saying so? Because if you started immediately with the Python, you might be ended up losing interest. That's my opinion. And if we talk about ISC tools available in the market, for example, Ansible or Terraform, then they have plugins available for, or they call it as drivers available. And with the help of that, you can start your journey. You can do SSH with the device. You can take backup, and then slowly and gradually you will see that you are getting that knowledge inside your head, and then you can move to the next level, to the understanding of the programming language. Now, the expertise of network engineer right now is maybe you are good at computer networking. You have excellent knowledge of CLI. You are maybe Cisco certified to prove that you have those things in your head, that you can do this stuff. But the new skills, what you need to add is you're equipping yourself with at least one new programming language, okay, and at least one configuration management tool, maybe Ansible, and you should be proficient with the version control system, how to use Git and other stuff. Fundamental of network automation. Now, network automation is used for configuration, management, provisioning of new features inside it, operations, performing different troubleshooting stuff, and service integration. It allows network administrators and engineers to streamline repetitive tasks, reduce human error. That's what I have discussed before as well. The same thing is written in this part. How we can use our automation script and programming languages. So that will be like, first of all, you need to understand the workflow. You can't jump directly on the programming language and started doing. Otherwise, if that is the case, then the developers are already available. They can simply take the network job as well, right? But because their field of area, the field where they are doing development, it's rather different from the network information. And that is a good part for us, that if we are equipped with the scripting and the programming language, then we are more capable of developing network devices, network automation more than anyone else, because we understand the workflow. We understand when we have to create a VLAN, we need to type VLAN and then give the name or VLAN ID and then give the name and how we assign to the interfaces. These are no one else aware of. So that means the manual work you should know. Then only you can script it with the help of Python, Bash, PowerShell, and whatnot, whatever available as a scripting language. And then with that we have some API and SDKs available. Now, what are SDKs? SDKs are software development kit, and APIs are application interfaces, so through which the device communicates. SDKs are basically developed files of Python, maybe C, Go, with the help of which the workflows are already available. The classes, the functions, these are already available inside it. You need to go through the SDK documents. If we are using pre-built SDKs to interact with some Cisco DNA Center or maybe vManage or Cisco Identity Service Engine, FTD, talking about Palo Alto, FortiGate, and any other web UI based devices or SSH based devices. So understanding the use of API SDK enables you to automate the device configuration, monitoring, and data retrieval. That means the backup. Monitoring over here, we are talking about telemetry and other stuff as well. For example, monitoring of the CPU, monitoring of the interfaces when interfaces goes down. Configuration management tool. Like I have given example of Ansible, the similar tools are Puppet and Chef is also there. These tools, like I already said, it's a declarative configuration files to define the desired state of the devices, which is then enforced automatically. That means you need not to worry about if something is already available in the switch or the router or maybe the server. It will not be overridden or not be reconfigured no matter how many times you are going to push the same script. So whatever changes, that can only be pushed, not the entire script rerun. That is the beauty of configuration management tools. Orchestration platforms provide centralized framework for automating, coordinating multiple tasks and workflow across the network. There are many platforms already available for orchestrating many SDN-based environment. For example, Cisco ACI, Cisco DNA Center, VMware NSX, FortiManager, Panorama, and these are also the part of firewall orchestrators. So if these orchestration tool already available in the market, then in that scenario, why I need to automate? So automating stuff, we can also automate orchestration, and automation is not just to make a bulk configuration push to many devices. I have already cleared my point before, because if that is the only case, yes, the orchestration tools are quite enough, and more than anything, you need not automation. But yes, the consistency, the error-free environment, the avoiding human error, those are also things which automation can replace. These are the things what I have just discussed: monitoring, analytics, TIG servers, Prometheus, ELK, Elasticsearch, Logstash, Kibana. These are all the monitoring part, which is also the part of our net DevOps tools base. SDN, OpenDaylight, and API other orchestration like SDN controllers. These are the part of the SDN controllers. Talking about avoiding any kind of human error. So how we can achieve in automation? Then in that scenario, we are talking about CICD pipeline. CICD pipeline is not new. CICD pipeline is already been working in development environment. Development, when I'm talking about software development environment. We borrow this from the software development houses and implement the same principle inside our network automation as well. And that's how it is called net DevOps. Now, DevOps is the core principle. CI/CD is the core, uh, which is working in DevOps principle or accommodating the DevOps with the help of the CI/CD pipeline. Continuous integration and continuous development uh, can be achieved with network automation is one part of it. Okay. So test, deploy, build, release. These are the 4 cyclic information in CI/CD pipeline, where any code first need to be tested against staging, right? We cannot create a script and push it in thousands of devices, and then we realize that, oh, we made a mistake. No, production didn't work in that way. Any downtime can incur a lot of revenue to the organizations. So they make sure that if we are dealing with such a thing which can build so efficiently, then it can break as well, right? So think about a scenario that 5 or 6 devices someone is upgrading, and maybe 1 or 2 is having problem. There might not be an issue. But when you are upgrading 1,000 devices and you are upgrading in a wave model. Wave model, it means called batch model. We are sampling the devices like first 10 devices, and if it is successful, then go for the next incremental update for 20 devices. And the more we are gaining the confidence, we are going through that upgrade. That is the principle when we are doing for automation for upgrade. But CI/CD pipeline works in a scenario where your version control system and a continuous integration tool, example, I'll take Jenkins or maybe Travis.io or GitLab Runner. These are getting integrated together. Any code change in your version control system, like I said, it's a repository where the code has been pushed. Any code change over there will trigger the pipeline. CI/CD pipeline, it will trigger. The moment it triggers the pipeline, your staging comes into picture. It will be staged for the UAT environment or any kind of test environment. There are mock tests also available. There are simulation based tests are available, or you can have a full blown physical test environment as well, which will be a costly affair. So those configuration will be pushed on the test environment. If it is successful, then only it will be go to the next phase for the prod. Now, when it is going to be pushed to the prod, it might seek approval before pushing inside the production or may not. It depends the policy of the organization. Security and compliance will be achieved with it. Like I said, the whatever policy been made for the organization, automation will adhere to that. For example, a password should be encrypted, or password should be in this much size, or any script which is going to be pushed inside the switches and the router should be baseline policies, what organization or any regulatory standards been mentioned over there. So that can be easily achieved with the help of the automation, because human do error. And we can't completely rely on everything for the humans. Documentation and version control system, again, this been already discussed. How we can document it, the workflow of the configuration, how Git will help to roll back if in case of some backup failure or some kind of configuration failure happen. So many devices these days come up with this, with this inbuilt in the box, but many legacy devices, switches, routers are not. So a legacy engineer early days, what they are doing is like they first create a backup of the device, and then they perform any kind of activity. If something goes wrong, you can rerun the backup. That is a normal scenario. And these days also, many organizations still working in that manner. But talking about, again, enormous infrastructure, if we keep on doing the same thing, we might lose a lot of time, and time is money. If we have this version control system in place, then it will do the stuff for you. We can go to the last version of the code, and it will perform the backup and all those stuff. What we need to do before upgrading. Training and skill development. So till now we have seen that today you learn Python, so Python 2 or maybe 2.7, and after 6 or 7 months you see that 2.7 is obsolete. So you have to go to 3.8. I've just taken the example. 2.7 is already obsoleted. We are working on Python 3 only. But the way Go and other languages are taking popularity, although I have just seen Tyu Index last, like in January 2024, that time Python is on the top position, and Go is picking up. Go was in 2023, it was on 12th position, right now in 7th position. So very soon the other organization, when they are applying it in their environment, you need to learn that language as well. So that's why training and skill development is a must needed thing. It's not like OSPF, BGP, and it's fine, unless something big change in the BGP, right? It's not like that. So you need to keep on doing, learning technologies, certifications, so that you will be updated yourself in this field. Tools for selection, like which tool you need to select, which you can see over here in this slide, we have Ansible, GitLab, NSO, and this is a DevOps, Cycle, Yang, Netbox. These all are not tools. Some are frameworks, some are tools. Which one we should select? It again, if it is a similar product, it will be the choice and the ease and the confidence on which the developer is needing, or again, it's a organizational decision that which one they go with. This is what I was talking about. You guys can also check the Tyu Index. This is Python. Its rating is 16.41%. It's on top of the chart. And I was talking about Go over here. So in 2020, April 2023, it was on 10th position. Now it is jumped to the 7th position. So you can see it is gaining popularity. C, Java, these are like not, I would not say that it is not a good language, but it is not self-compiled. The compiler is different, and on the contrary, Python is having its interpreter inbuilt. So you don't need to worry about the other components. So that's why Python is being used. So if someone wants to learn any other language than Python, then they can learn Go, because Terraform based language developed on Go, and your Ansible IAC tool is being developed on Python 3. Pros and cons for the programming languages. So in the starting of this webinar, I told you guys that rather than directly jumping on the programming language, you should go with the Ansible or any other IAC tool, maybe Terraform, Chef, Puppet, anything, Salt Stack you can pick up. Why? The reason is in this slide. The pros, that you write exactly what you're looking to accomplish and nothing more. Okay, so that is the advantage of having programming language. The tools can have more than one set of features which can be done in a single go, and you can't avoid it, right? You can't. It will do the stuff for you because it's a tool. It's not in your control. It's been written anyway. If it is customized, then you can change it. Again, for that you need to have a programming language. For example, Ansible. If you need to create custom plugins, you can do the stuff. But if not, then in that scenario, you need to have a programming language in hand. So in some cases, it is more performant. There is a large developer talent pool available. If you are not able to, able to perform what you are trying to accomplish in the router and the switches, there are many people throughout the world, throughout the community sites available, which can help you out to get what you want to do. Cons, you may write many lines of codes to accomplish what configuration management tool could do with few lines. Very concrete example for it is idempotency. I have taken that example because I have seen when you're writing the logic of idempotency in Python coding, it will take hundred of lines more than the actual code is needed. And if we talk about Ansible, then you don't need to worry about, because it's a inherent feature of Ansible itself. Inventory management with the help of configuration management tool or IC tool will be quite easy. And security management certificate, for example, certificate when you're doing SSH or HTTPS to a device with the help of the programming language, that time the certificate management with the help of it will be quite a tedious job. But with your ISC tools, it's not. You just need to give a proper path of the certificate and it will all do the stuff for you. So that's the difference between, or I won't say difference, that would be the pros and the cons of the programming language. It can all be achieved with the programming language. I'm not saying that, but yes, it's not in inbuilt feature, because it can be customized whenever you want to change, you can do it. Flexibility will be one of the feature of the programming language. Might be ISC tools or configuration management tool will not be that much flexible. So these are the configuration management tools. When we are talking about, it's it will make the deployment faster. So the same thing, if you want to achieve with the Python, let's say I'm talking about 50 devices, configuration creation with the help of the Ansible, and the same with the Python. You need to introduce multi-threading, multi-processing, and many more things in Python. But Ansible, you need not to worry about. You just need to give your inventory. It will be 10, 50, 100 devices. It will take the similar amount of time. Irrespective when we talk about Python. So again, it is scalable, it can be predictable, and it can be repeatable with the help of the looping inside it. Again, I have taken an example of configuration management tool. So it's written that Ansible, it's a suite of software enabling infrastructure as code written in Python. It's agentless, it's open source. So when it is open source, then the development will be quite easy to perform with the help of the proper documentation. Terraform, again, it is developed by HashiCorp, written in Go, not in Python. That could be a most common asked question. And it manages external resources, same as your Ansible. So why Python when we started, when we started our automation journey, and why Python is so common in automation, network automation? For other web development, there will be Node.js, React, and other stuff. But when we talk about network automation, it will be always Python. Why is that way? Because Python, first of all, it's advanced object-oriented programming. Secondly, there's a very big community available down there which is working on Python. Most of what we are doing in daily life is developed in Python. For example, I can say YouTube. Many of us are watching right now live streaming over here. That has also been developed on Python. Then how it will be easy to do with the bigger community? Because those community are developing various libraries for us to do, like I said initially, to do the repetitive job. I always take an example in this, is like when the wheel is already been invented, you need to work to invent the other stuff. No need to go back in time and invent the wheel. Same goes with our languages. So what are the useful libraries available and what are the frameworks available to perform our normal automation tasks? NetMiko, Napalm, Nornier, Scrapply, Request, NCC Client, PY Builder, Flask, Robot Framework, Terraform, Cisco Pivot. These are the common. These are the one which is quite commonly used. Apart from that there are many others built-in libraries inside the Python itself, and there are many others available. Date and time, CSV, dictionary. There are many others which is now and then with the help of those libraries, we make our automation scripting quite easy and reliable. So NetMiko was developed by Kirk Byers. He's also a training provider, and he's the maintainer and the owner of this particular library. Napalm is again, so NetMiko basically works on Paramiko. Paramiko is a SSH connection based framework again, and NetMiko is developed on it with some more functionality inside it. Napalm based on Paramiko, NetMiko both. Nornier is again a library which is working just like your Ansible tool, but Ansible is a tool, and this is a Python library. But it means it also create a sequential connection and it works on NetMiko and it get integrated with TextFSM and other testing frameworks, for example, Jenny and PyATS. Request, when we talk about request is a library through which we can invoke a REST-based connections. So representational state transfer is a HTTP-based connection or the API interaction with the devices. Whichever device is having API based environment. I'll take one common example for Palo Alto, Cisco FTDs. Why I always take firewall examples, because that is my background. There may be any other device as well. For example, big IP F5 SD-WAN devices we manage. So those are also support request-based interaction with the devices. All you need to import this library in your Python coding, and you can use the HTTP-based connection. So it works on the principle of CRUD, C-R-U-D, create, reuse, update, delete. These are the verbs we call as in request. NCC client is basically netconf-based connections. The devices which supports netconf are using NCC client connection. NCC client, again, framework as well as a Python library through which it invoke SSH-like connection, but works on TCP 830 and makes a connection on it and works on a YANG module to push the configuration. PY Builder is a similar kind of library which makes a Python-based configuration building. For us, Flask is for web-based, web UI-based library for Python, with the help of which you can make some kind of web page for your automation. Robot framework is for testing. Terraform is again developed by HashiCorp, and it's again a library for vault management, for credential management. Cisco PyATS is again a Cisco-based testing environment which is used in our pipeline. These are the common libraries and the tools and the frameworks. Okay, if you guys have any question, you can ask, or we can see a small demonstration over here. So in order to perform any kind of testing or the scripting, you need to have a test environment where you can perform those testing. The very good part about Cisco routers and switches is Cisco has cloud environment for the dev box they have. You can make use of it just the way I'm going to do. Okay. This is my like small environment where we are connected with our automation node with this particular managed switch, and these are the routers. There's one more over here. These are also connected in the same way with some different iOS-based switches, routers. We are over here, like in automation node. This is my automation machine. From here, we invoke maybe some SSH connection, and we'll try to configure maybe some kind of loop back, or maybe we'll take the backup of the device later stage. How we can do that? What library I was talking about? The most common library which has been used is Netmiko in order to do the same, and we are also going to leverage it to get our hands dirty. So let's go and try to ping. Pinging. All right. So I've created an Excel file for the same. I'll show you over here. Because this Excel sheet, this is a Ubuntu machine, I don't have Excel format. So I have created Excel file in my Word, in my Microsoft Office, and then I put it over here. So I did that part because it is a job is needed. So why I have taken leverage? I can use a manual part as well in our automation. I can put direct inventory information, IP address, and all in our code. Why I have taken Excel sheet? Because Excel sheet is a bulk loader, right? You can see already there are 15 or 16 devices in this particular sheet. Tomorrow, if the number or the count will be increased, you just need to add one entry inside it and we are done, right? Also, there is a provision that in the Excel sheet, I have seen places where the username and credential been already written in the same. You can also use that, but that is for the testing purpose, not an industry grade. Talking about industrial practical approach, in the Excel sheet, nobody is trying to put the username credentials. That is a practice. So how and where it will be put, that we are going to see in our scripting part. So this tool what I'm using, it is called Virtual Studio Code, and this is your IDE. It is free, of course, and it is quite common in the developers world. And I also prefer to use this because there are a lot of plugins available over here will make your life easy. In order to download those plugins, you can just simply go to extension and you can download, for example, maybe I use Python syntax spec check. So pylens I can install, which is already there for me because I'm using it. So, but you can, so the good part when you're using pylinting or pylens, then if you make any kind of, syntax based error in your coding, it will highlight that and then you can easily change it. So Python is a indentation based coding block check. Okay, there is no open or close curly braces in it to check which code block performing what. You need to maintain it with the help of the indentation. So it's quite common in the developers as well that you use some extra space and that will create a problem in Python. But when you're using the ID like VS Code, it will simply point the error in that place that this kind of thing you are making an error too, and it will be easy for you to figure it out what you need to do to remove that error or to debug that error. So I'll just simply write a code, loop back config, maybe loop back config. Py. First of all, in order to use the libraries, you need to install the libraries first. So in order to install that, you need to Python installation and all. I assume that it's part of thing, because the environment need to be created first. There will be a separate, might be we can take a subsequent separate demonstration separately to create an environment, because that will take time. So Python and all I have already installed. Same goes with the library. So in order to install the library, what I'm going to use, so I'm going to use netmiko. So I'm going to install pip3 install netmiko, and it will be installed. So it says that the requirement already satisfied, because this is my environment, development environment. But this is the way when we are using it, it can be done. If someone asks that maybe the similar environment we also want it so that we can perform your demonstration, then in that case, I can share my requirement with pip freeze, and it will bring all the requirement what I have installed already inside my development environment, inside my Python. So these libraries are already available. If someone wants it, then I can redirect it to requirements.txt, and it will create that file. It becomes shareable. This is a way you can share. So Ansible can be installed separately. Ansible can be installed in the form of pip3 library as well, because Python and Ansible can work in an integrated manner as also, and that's why you can see it's been there. So that is a separate discussion, not now. So let's start with our coding part. So how we can, so first of all, when you are using any kind of library, first you need to bring up the classes, what's there in the library itself. So from netmiko library, I'm going to import connect handler. Now, what is this connect handler? And you see, because of this py lens, this library is already in my environment. Your ID is making the suggestion also. See, if I write C, these are the available available classes of the functions inside the library is there, right? So it will check and suggest you as well. So that's the beauty of your identity or your IDE, integrated development environment, when you're using. VS Code is one of them. So this is the minimum you need it. Now you see, initially I told you that I'm using a CSV file to connect to all these devices. Connect handler has a feature that you can give the IP address and all those other information inside the. So I'll show you over here. Netmiko example. So you can give the IP address, username, password. If some other ports apart from SSH been used, you can give that as well. Enable password and all those things in this manner. It's a dictionary. This data structure is called dictionary, and these are called key and value. Key and value. It's working on a key value pair. This dictionary over here will be unpacked with asterisk asterisk 2 signs. This is data. It will be structured in a dictionary data structure, and then it will be used with the help of the connect handler. It will be unpacked and put it inside the variable net connect. Later stage with the net connect, you can send the command show IP interface brief and it will print the output. This is very basic approach, and one or two devices you can do in this manner, but bulk devices, you need a bulk data loader, right? So for that, some more approach of file handling and all will be there in our Python code that we are going to see. So for that, one more built-in library to the Python I'm going to use, which is your import CSV, so that it can read the CSV file, what's available in my environment. Otherwise, it won't be able to read it. CSV is not the native data structure. So I have to do something with the help of the file handling so that it will be converted into the native structure, maybe a dictionary or set, so that I can use it inside my Python code. This is the minimum you can use. Now there is a concept in Python which is called do not repeat yourself, the concept of dry. And that is comes up with a modular approach of coding. I can write in a normal way also, but we are talking about over here the industry practices, how we are doing it in industry. And over there, we are creating functions. So let's say I create a main function. Main is a reserved keyword in Python, and it will allocate the main scope or main programming base inside your Python. Next is secondly that in Python or writing code, the best industry practice, again, we are talking about industry practices. So over here, we are talking about, comments and all. So I'm making a function. What function is performed? I need to give a comment over here. Writing a comment, it will be started with hash or maybe inside the codes. So your call, what do you want to use? Single line comment will be started with code. Multi-line comment will be open and ended with triple quotes. So it will read device information from CSV. Simple, right? So I'm writing it first the comment, and then I'm going to write the approach or the logic, how it can read this file and convert into a native data structure of the Python so that it can read and pull out those information what I want to perform to do the SSH on these devices. Okay. So for file handling, it will be started with the keyword with, and I'm going to open. First, I just try to open the file. It will expect some argument. When I open and close the bracket, you see it will give some suggestion as well that it is going to run this or it is expecting this arguments. So I'll give the name devices.csv. Okay. And then there will be a keyword. It's mentioned, see, open text mode, capital, in quotes, -r, it's for read. So these suggestions we are going to use. So comma, I'm going to read it. And then I'll put it in a temporary variable as file. Okay. So I open devices.csv, read, and put it in a temporary variable file. Then I'll take another variable reader, and then see, when I put dot over here, it will start making suggestions. And then I'll try to convert, I put it in a reader in a native structure, and I'm going to use dictionary reader. Okay. It will read this file, what I have put after, reading as a dictionary, because dictionary is a native data structure of Python. For this, it will be expecting the temporary variable where I have put that devices.csv information. Now, this is a simple logic where we are opening a devices.csv, putting it in a temporary variable, and that variable I'm using it to convert in a dictionary. It's converted now, but it will be going from device 1 to 15, right? That means some kind of loop will be needed where it is going to read these headers: IP address, host name, device type, and I have taken one extra field. Maybe some later stage I'll show you a usage of it, pod ID. Right now it's not needed in our program. So the minimum things which we needed is IP address, device type. We'll take example. We'll see the example again. What are the things it's needed to complete this structure is device type, host, maybe IP address, in our case, username, password, port. This is the minimum things required to make a connection to the device. We are going to use the same information from our CSV file. We'll go over here and then start writing a loop. For this, I'm going to use a for loop. So for device information, so this is again a variable for device information, check in where you have to check, because reader I have taken a variable, check inside the reader. Okay. And then the loop will be started. So inside this loop, when it is checking in the reader, what are the information it is going to pull on? Apart from that information, I told you that username password is also needed, right? Over here, you see username, password, right? But that's not the part of my sheet. I have to give this information over here because this is the one which is going to be used inside the connection information connect handler. So I need to provide this. How I can provide in industry practices with the help of the environment variables. So I have to create one file named .envrc .touch.env. Over here, we will mention the username and password using keyword export. So now the question arises, why we are using in this manner? Why we are not putting inside the file itself? If you put in the file and if you make it in a collaboration approach, might be you are using your own credentials. Logging to the devices in the industry, it's been AAA configured, right? So we are using our own username password. If you share that same file inside the repository, what will happen? Your credential might be compromised, right? Not might, it will be surely going to be compromised because you shared it on your own will, and that's a problem. So that's the reason we are using .envrc file. Secondly, this .envrc file can be at any path. Just the path should be accessible via your code. And you can make a privilege level of restriction that no one can open and see this file except your code. So that kind of security been taken care of. Apart from that, there are many other security as well to manage the credential. For one of the security is Vault. I can discuss about it maybe at the later stage of our webinar. But over here, we are going to leverage this credential management only. So now we are going to give the information how your code will be used this envrc file. For that, there is a inbuilt library to the Python. We need to use this import OS. This is inbuilt to Python. You don't need to install it. And then I use username equals OS from operating system. Get environment. Yes, get env from the variable name what you are given in your this is the variable which we used in export here, right? I'll copy this rather than typing it. Typing can be a mistake. And then I'll go and simply give password in the same manner. OS get env. Okay. So that's the performance that is your main function would do. Main function would use the device information as well, which I have not given, because again, I'm going to create a new function, and that function can be called inside the main. So that function is not yet created. So I'm going to make a function again to retrieve the configuration device information. So function to configure Cisco-based devices or anything, whatever you like. So you can write it. So function keyword started with dev and then configure device. I'll give a name, and I'm going to give some variables which I have defined earlier over here. Let's say device info. So it is expecting your device info. Apart from that, it will be expecting username and then okay. These things this function would expect for its own functionality to make a SSH connection. Okay, then it will be simple. Now over here, basically we are going to make a connect handler functionality because this is for SSH. So simply we can, we can write this over there and the function is completed. Same I'm going to do, but in a different manner. See, if you see this example, device, host, I'm going to do the same inside this function because this function I made for this purpose only. But because we are going to a modular approach, so that later stage, if I want to use this part in some other program, I can use it. That's why I'm creating function. Other than everything is same. So establish SSH connection. So you can realize that this is the connect handler actually. So device, I'm going to put inside the variable device, connect handler I'm going to use, and I open braces for connect handler. And then I started giving the first IP, and it will pull the IP from where? From here, right? Because the IP is inside the CSV file. So from device info, it will pull the IP address. So I'll copy and paste it. Right. So now I assume, not assume, my program has already converted the CSV file to dictionary, right? Now pulling information from the dictionary we can do, and that is called your operations on the data structure. So what I want to pull from device info, username, right? And that username, sorry, not username, IP address. That IP address header would be over here, right? So this is what I want to pull. So I'm going to copy this so that you guys understand that what I'm actually trying to do over here. You get it? I hope you guys are understanding this part. So I'm going to reiterate myself. So with open devices.csv, I open the file in the CSV and then I convert it in a dictionary, put it inside the variable reader, and then the same, once the dictionary is converted over here, I use this IP keyword, which is the host connect handler using it. From the device info dictionary, I'm just pulling out this IP address, right? Because now this can be performed because over here I can assume my code has already converted the CSV file in a native data structure dictionary format, right? That's why I can pull it out in this manner. Same I'm going to do with the username. Now, username is not the part of that dictionary, so I can just simply return username as username. This is key, this is value. Value name is also the same, right? I'm putting it inside the variable. You can keep it something else to avoid any kind of confusion. If you use the same, there is no harm. And then you have to use comma. Over here also, you have to use comma because you are defining connect handler dictionary structure. That's why. Then I go and give the password as password because I'm using the again same. Then device type is the other key, and that is also in our CSV file. So I'm going to copy this. Go ahead from device info. Just pull out this. So this much information, your connect handler is used to make a SSH connection. What after that? I want to make a configuration. So I'll send the configuration command. Okay. I'll take a variable IP address and mask because I'm going to create a loopback. Now over here, guys, correct me, anyone, if you just differ with me with the logic. These all devices can't have the same loopback address, right? Because if they are connected, there will be a duplicate error, right? Network duplicate error. So I want to configure separate loopback IP addresses with a single command set. Now over here, it will be a string structure manipulation with the help of your formatting with the help of Python. So that is, I'm going to design my configuration structure with that. I use formatting with the F keyword, and inside your double quotes, I'm going to type 10.0.0. Wait, let me see the device. So with the help of device ID, maybe fine. So the logic would be 10.0.0. The fourth IP address of the loopback, I would say the fourth, 10.0.0, it will be the pod ID. Okay. That's what I said, that the pod ID I have written for some reason. So I'm going to give one extra field pod ID. And now we know that it has been already converted into a dictionary. So I can put it directly over here. So dictionary open and close with the curly braces. It will be inside the device info right now, right? Over here, we put it in device info in my code here, right? Device info. And from device info, what I want to pull is let me copy and paste, otherwise it will be a problem. Okay. It's showing error. It should not show. Device info is not defined. Okay. So from device info, we pull out the pod ID, we'll create our, so this is the IP address and mask which I have created. In the configuration, how will we give? So I'm going to give a command. This command is a reserved keyword inside the NetMiko connect handler. Over here, we'll open square brackets. It's a set. So for command, I have generated structure for this again, host name. And then I use concatenation method. Wait. Yes, that's the host name. And concatenation method at the device underscore info. I want to put okay. So I'll give configuration of host name also in the command. If the device doesn't have host name, it will configure the host name. If it doesn't have, otherwise it will not do. Interface loop back 0, and I'm creating a set. So comma. Okay. Now, right now, our router or switch will be inside the interface. Now I have to give the IP address. For that, I have already designed the logic. So formatted output IP address, right? This is the command which we are running. And then what I'm going to give? This variable. Just for the sake of, testing or maybe proof of concept, I just want to give a description over here that it is been created by NetMiko. What is the date today? It's 4 May 2020. And then I will exit from the interface. So this is the command set, what I want to send. So sending the command, in order to send the command, I will use my SSH connection variable, which is device here, right? So how we can send it in our NetMiko? So again, I'm give a remark so that it will be understanding. Sending configuration command. Device holds the SSH connection, and then send command. It's a keyword inside NetMiko itself. And what command I want to send? Command. This could be anything. Okay. If you want, you can print the output. Just again, proof of concept that it has been. If you want, you can print a formatted output so that you will see that it has been configured on which device, right? Because multiple device we are trying. This will not show anything except this configuration send. But if you have if you have understanding of the string and formatting of the string, you can do this thing to make sure that it has been completed on this particular device. So configuration of device underscore info, device underscore info. I'll give the host name over here. Come on. Host name, and then say completed. So this will print the output configuration of, let's say, example device info, or inside the device info, I'll put this host name. So on this particular router is completed. This will print in this manner. Another thing which is very important, most of the people always forget, and this will create a problem, is disconnecting your SSH connection. Otherwise, the connection will be exhausted. Disconnecting SSH. And for that, again, you'll use the keyword disconnect from the device. Device dot disconnect. Simple. Because we are using a modular approach, this will be a normal or a standard practice that you need to define that this particular module is not imported to your code. You need to tell. If it is not imported, then it will be the part of the main, and it will be defined in this manner. This is a reserve keyword in Python. Name. It's a constructor, I would say. And then I'll give main. If, then it will be a main module. And it should be in a global space. So that's why I get out of this function first, and then I declared it. So one small thing, so this definition function, it will be all good. I need to make use of this. Otherwise, yes. So this function is now created. It will be go to the main space also to run the loop. Copy this. And inside the loop. Completed now. So Control S. Time of truth. Python 3. Loop back. I need to load the credential sourc source.envrc, and then Python 3. Load back. Wait, because I didn't use any multi-threading and all. What it says. So I was .20 authentication failed. Authentication failed. There is a space. There should be not any space. Fix that. We are sending configuration. That's the problem. We are sending configuration, but we are sending commands. So that's the difference between netmiko connect handler, when you're sending show related commands, read only command, that time you have to send command, but when you're sending config, that would be your config set. Bad mistake. I hope it would run now. All right, so it's running. You can see that it will first go to interface loop back and configure the IP address as per the pod ID. And it will print that it's completed. So it will keep on running in the loop, but you will see some problem in it. And that is what we are going to discuss. So by the time it is running, I'll show this thing. So over here, when you are sending configuration, that time you have to use send underscore config set. When you're sending command, I actually have seen this. That's why. When you're sending command, then send underscore command. Guys, am I audible? Thank you. But someone has complained me that I was
Yes,
mute.
yes. I think maybe you were saying something, but from last around 5 minutes, we are not able to listen you.
No, I was not. No, I was not saying. I was waiting for this code to complete. So you guys see that this has been completed on all the routers as per our SPC. So I hope you guys understand the logic. This can be done in different manner as well. But over here in this demonstration, I try to make justification to the industry best practices. In industrial grounds, it's not been suggested to use without DIY approach. Now there's a library named Flake 8. There is a library named Flake 8 in Python itself, which check the coding beautification and coding best standards, in which it can also see that this line, for example, you see after comma, I can write this here also, right? That's a genuine question. Sir, why I need to maintain this? I want to copy, because when I was learning this, trust me, these things bugs me unnecessary. Keep it simple. I want to write it because we are using comma. I want to write it in one line. If you ask me, Praveen, is that a problem? I can't write in one line. You can write it. There's no issue, and it will work as demonstrated. Now, I was talking about industry best practices and the Flake 8 standard of Python. So it's mentioned clearly over there that the number of words in one line should not be more than 10. Okay, should not be more than 10 or maybe 5. I don't remember exactly the default, but there is some limitation. And why that limitation will be, now consider you are a developer and this is a very small code. It's for demonstration, so it's very small, like 50-line code maybe. You might be getting like 100, maybe 1,000 plus line codes, or maybe 500 plus line codes. And it will be goes out of your sight. Like our eye or our psychology will be like seeing in block, right? Seeing in a square, right? Seeing in a square. We are not seeing like this and keep our head turning around and see till here. It's not a normal, normal, or it not be a like normal practice or normal psychology. And according to using this human psychology, they have created one standard. So I have taken one example of Flake 8. There may be multiple. And if I put that library in check in my, let's say I was talking about CICD pipeline standard, and my organization has put a compliance check on that if someone is not making a practice of the standard coding procedures, so the script would be failed. So might be my script is right, but I'm not making a standard check on it of Flake 8, so it will not be executed in my pipeline another thing, the problem with this code, there will be one more problem in this code, that every time I have to write this source.envrc, right? Now consider this code will be running in the pipeline. Now pipeline is automated. There will be no human intervention over here to run this Python 3 or something like that. The runner will do for you. The CI tool will do for you. The code is there. The inventory would be like this. I add one more extra line over here. It will trigger the entire project repository. Let's say auto webinar is a project repository, will be inside my VCS, version control system. It's there. Let's say example, GitHub, GitLab, anything. The moment I add an inventory file or inventory, IP address and something like that, it will trigger the pipeline because there will be a new version, right? Moment I commit, it will create a new version. Now in my pipeline, it is mentioned that if any new version will be available, I need to trigger a UAT check. In the UAT check, in the staging or the stages, the pre-deployment check will check this standard, what I was talking about. After checking the standard, the next stage will be connecting to the devices. It is not going to run this source envrc for me because the envrc might be local to my environment over here in the machine, but not in the runner. Runner, it doesn't know about this environment variable because this environment variable is local to my automation node, not to the runner. What will happen? This connection will not going to work, right? So in this scenario, the path would be given to the runner as well, and it will be, the OS will be accessible, okay, remotely, but it will not going to run the source envrc. So that can be done with the help of source envrc. We can run with the help of the bash scripting every time, but it is not a standard practice. So what to do to avoid it? We can do something in my code to avoid to run this. And for that, I'll import another library from dot environment. Okay. I want to import, or I want to import to load this automatically for me. Load.env. After importing it, I'm going to run it in a global space. Okay. Load what? Load.envrc for me. If I do this much stuff, I'll be in ease. I don't need to run. If I change something over here, I don't need to run load again and again. Okay. After this, I don't need to run. Let me make some change over here and I'll save. This will be showing to my Control S. I'm not going to run this source envrc this time. And it will connect. See, I'm going to interrupt it because we know that our code is running. So without wasting time. So I hope you guys have understand the logic to build it. See, for me, maybe I'm dealing with it every now and then, so it will be easy. It may look quite someone is very smart at it. Maybe they understand. Someone may not. But the bottom line is you need to break your flow logic first. Break the flow logic. My flow logic, what I understand, first I need to read from the CSV file, right? For that, I need to write a separate module. Why I write a separate module? Later stage might be I want to use this same, CSV file, reading it. I can simply just pull this main module over there with the help of this file name. Loopback underscore from loopback config.py, pull this main function over there. I can pull it out. Pull this connect. Forget about main function. I pull it entire connect from configure from this loopback underscore config.py. Pull this configure device. For example, let's say touch test 2.py, maybe anything. And over here, if I write from loopback config, so it becomes I want to pull configure this man. We can import it. It is showing error. The reason is my py lens is not understanding this because it's a in the ID there is no such information of it, but it's fine. It will work. So this manner you can pull your function after that. The problem with this code is again multi-threading is so efficiency thing will be already there, like always there. You can make your code more efficient. It's a very plain code. I didn't applied multi-threading inside it. I didn't introduce delay. You see the device connected, putting the configuration. If I increase the number of devices more in it, might be few devices will be failed. So I need to introduce some delay in it, that before going to the next connection, introduce some sleep time, that it will you wait this much time and then go to the next connection. Or I can do a asynchronous connection, async behavior. Async is a library again. We can make a use of it. So there are many things you can do in this simple thing, but the time is limited for our demonstration and this webinar. Maybe later on the stage, when you guys have joined the live class session, that time we can discuss more about it, that how we can achieve concurrency in it, how we can make a use of vault in it. Okay, so this NVRC file, I said that this might be an industry practice, but someone went to their organization and see that, Praveen, you told us wrong information. We are not using in this manner. I would say could be, because there will be a crypto box configuration as well, where you put all your configuration there and your code will later on use it. One such crypto box in a DevOps environment available is HashiCorp Vault. Over here, it will manage the identity of the device, and you can make a use. Your Python will log in first to this device, fetch the credential, and this could not be this could not be pulled out by any method, because someone who's able to pull out, they have a unsealed key first. They need to have. So it is completely encrypted. No one can easily pull out except your code. And your code is also need the root key first to get inside it. So those logic you can pull in inside your code. So let's say if I have a built-in module in some code for Vault, I'm asking a question, maybe anyone can answer in this class. I'll create a simple function for accessing Vault in this, maybe in this code. Later stage, I am using this particular Vault again to access to my devices. Do I need to write it again? Or we can use a modular approach? Guys, if you want to speak, how would I realize that you guys are getting it, or I'm good at explaining things? I'm audible. Thank you, Gaurav. We can use modular approach. Yes, we can go for modular approach. How much time left for the webinar? Maybe I can cover that as well. Okay, let's see. Let's see if we can do this, how we can do. So Okay. All right. So in a DevOps environment, we have another tool. I would say tool only, developed by HashiCorp, which is Vault. Let me just access that. One minute. Let me just pull out the root key. So when you install your Vault, it would look like this. After installation, the free source, you can install it for your development environment. How to install and all those things, it's a separate question or a separate thing to discuss with. It will take some time. But over here, we can create our user credential. For example, I have created one user credential in the same way. My password, inside my password, I have created a mount point, which is called user access, and I have given username and password over here. This information, my Python code will see in the same manner, the way we are doing it. Like root, we access it via root. Inside the root, it will go and went to this path. Access user access, you need to give the same same name inside your code, and so that it will go and pull this key. Inside this key, it has the value, and it will started doing the login once it have it. The same logic, same way, we need to make an API call in it, right? So how to make an API call? I'm going to take an example of this over here. So with that manner, we can see API call, how we can use the request library. So another library we need to use inside writing this module is a API library. Guys, you guys are, if you are interested, then only we can proceed. Otherwise, if it is overwhelming, we can stop it over here. No issues. Let me know your feedback because it is going over time, I think, already. Put your comment on chat if you guys are okay with it. No one is interested? Okay, so it's fine for Gaurav. Only one. Anyways, let me just give a brief of it. Maybe we can give a try. Works fine for me. Okay, so let's do it. Let's give a try. So again, the way we are doing, environment variable, I'm going to put our root key now rather than root key and maybe the vault URL. I'm going to put over here. So both I'm going to use. So again, export, and I'll give, let's say, see, the color is not changing. That means I'm making some mistake. This is the good part, what I like about this IDE. VS Code, someone asked that we need to install VS Code in Ubuntu or outside. It's your call. The environment can be created on your WSL, Windows itself. Windows is giving Windows subsystem Linux environment. So very easy to spin up rather than going a VM environment. I'm using a VM environment. That's my choice. You can use, or you can install your VS Code in your Windows and make a remote development stuff. Or on the same machine, you can install VS Code. Your call, how you want to use it. There are multiple ways. vault URL. There should be no space. Okay, guys. Remember, we use space and there is some authentication that is happening. The good part, like if you understand what is the mistake you are making, you can fix it out. Okay, and over here in the same, I'm going to give put vault token and give over here my root password. Okay. Later stage, I just comment these out and we'll see that our code should be using only this. Okay. So this is done. I'll save it and we'll go and write a new code. So right now we have seen how to do the configuration. In this part of the code, I'm just trying to make introduce some more complexity, a little bit more. But again, an industry use case of making a backup, right? How to take a backup of the devices. That is what I'm going to do. So, touch. All right. So in this, we are going to see in this particular why I'm doing this, not just for the board. We are going to see how the API-based connection your Python would make, how it can use. So the rest of the things will be similar because it is going to make a SSH connection. So for that, it will 100% going to make the connection with the devices. For that, we are going to use the again CSV file and all those things. So those logic we have already seen. Maybe we can introduce some concurrency stuff into it, that how to use a make library, Asyncio library, how it's been used to make a concurrent connection on the devices. So again, I import CSV because this logic is clear to everyone. Then I import from netmiko, import connect handler. Then we import OS because you are using environment variable, and import HVAC. Okay, this library again you need to install HVAC. The way to install is same, pip3 install HVAC. Okay. Again, the requirement is satisfied for me because this is my development environment, but this is the way you need to first install and then only it will be available for you to use. Now, I want to create, like we go for a modular approach. So I want to create a mechanism or a module through which my vault will be connected. For that, because vault is a tool, okay? I don't know how to get it connected from this. So for that, we need to follow the documentation. We follow the vault documentation. Read the docs. We'll go over here. So it will give you everything like pip3 install HVAC, pip3 install HVAC parser. You can install the way it said. Then how the client will get connected. It will go to the local connection. If it is authenticated, then it will return true. All this logic you can implement. How it is making a connection over the URL on port number 82. All this available. Because Vault is a tool, it has an inbuilt connection. So that's why we don't need to use request library for this. For request library, I maybe use some other example. So for this, this is the part which we are going to follow. So the main thing over here, like these unsealed keys, also you can implement, but it is already unsealed, so we don't need to. We just need a root key to apply. After that, it has a KV secret engine version, how it is going to connect to. For that, it gives an example again. Okay. So client.secret.kv.v2.create.update.secret and then path and then the secret path. So this is the main line through which it is going to take the response of the password. Now you guys see that if it didn't follow the documentation, I'm not going to dream of that I need to write it in this manner, right? Because it's a tool. It has some documentation. So documentation is a very big role while writing the code. The logic will be yours, but everything you are not aware of. So for that, you need to pull this documentation out of HVAC and you can start going through it. We will write the code as per this information. So first of all, again, as per the modular approach, what we are going to do, we create a function. We create a function to maybe fetch credentials from Vault. Creds from okay. In order to do that, let's say get creds maybe, and or it is not signifying that it is I'm making it from the vault. So just for the sake of understanding, I'm getting creds from vault. Then I'm going to use client, the similar variable, what it says in the document. See over here, right? Although I can change it, but it's fine. And then HVAC dot client. It's available there, right? That's why the suggestion been clearly made by my IDE. Okay. So HVAC dot client, it get connected. So now this function has a particular assumption because I'm running my vault locally. I'm running it locally in my environment. Could be it's not true in the industry. It might be running in some other firewall behind. So you need to know that what are the firewall ports you need to open. So right now it is working on the API will be accessible on 8200 port. So you need to give all those information in your firewall. Otherwise, it will not be able to connect. For me, there is no firewall, so it's fine. So that's why I'm assuming that Vault is running locally on some default port. Default port is 8200, which can be changed. The database, what it uses is Raft. Vault URL, from where you are going to pull the same logic we are going to apply. The earlier, like username, we pull it, right? From os dot get env. Okay. And then Vault URL, right? We are using this name only, right? Vault URL. And then I need this token as well. All right. So this information is been pulled from the environment variable, but the client need to connect. Client need to connect. Why? HVAC, the function is defined above. Now it is expecting the argument. The argument will be URL and token. I want to tell you something once. Let me write it. Otherwise, the client. This is the function what defined, and it is expecting an argument of URL, which is and then token. All right. So this is when CLIENT. Wait, there is one more field when your vault being used in HTTPS. Okay. So right now our vault is working on HTTP, cannot S. So if it is HTTPS, you need to give vault underscore cert, one more variable you need to identify, and you need to give the cert path over here, that certificate where it is held, and you need to give the certificate inside your project repository, and it will pull that certificate as well. So right now we are not using certificate. I don't get into there because then CA comes into picture and all those stuff. So I avoid it for now for demonstration. Now, after this, it will like till here, it connected. But what after connection? We see a manual thing that I get into the my password, and then I get into user access, and then I'll see it this. The same thing I need to logic, the same logic I need to apply in my Python. So in Python or per the documentation, it is called a mount point. If I go into this documentation, it will be called mount point. Or it can be anything, it's just a variable, but it is mount where the username credential is there. Okay. So it's not necessary to use the same keyword. I'm using it just to make it looks more logical. So it will be inside where it is created my password, right? This is my password. Yes, it is my password. And then the path would be path equals user access. Go to the document again. Now, after this, it will expecting a response. So like I said, the most was taking the response. Yeah, this one. Path and then secret or mount point, what I'm saying. So, okay. So client.secret.kb.v2. It is actually creating. I want to read, not create. Yes. So it is creating. It's creating and updating the secret. Particularly, I want to read. Maybe somewhere else. Read the secret version here. Okay. So hback.client, the way we have created, all okay. Then it will go read the secret version. I want this particular line. This could be anything. It's a variable. But let's go. So I'll say it's a vault response. Anything you can write. Anyway, that's a variable. So, and then paste client.secret. kb.v2.read secret version. And then I have to give over here path equals path. And then for secret, they have mentioned secret. I'm using mount point. It's variable. So mount point equals to mount point because I'm using both same. So this much, when you give, it will bring the response. Let's say in a situation, again, I'm talking about best practices. The before code, what we have used, we have not given example of exception handling and all, right? We have not used. But again, I'm dealing with the password credential. If the password is not pulled on, how would I come to know that the password is not pulled on? It is not been taken out. So I use exception handling. For that, I'm going to run if else. So if I'll take a variable, maybe data in vault response. If data in vault response return it will come in a JSON format. So I want to pull this information like data. I'm going to write it in a manner. I'll let you know why. Okay. So I have written data then username. Why? Because when the response come, it will be structured in this manner only. I'll show you by printing it. When I print in a JSON, when it is coming out, you will see that yes, and that's the reason. Without printing, you never come to know, or you need to follow the documentation. So maybe over here we'll get it. See, data, and then the keys, right? In the response, it will be written in that manner only. So it will come in that format. So you have to use that format, particular format only. Otherwise, it will not work. Okay. So that's the username. What about password? I'm going to copy and paste. So if there is a data in the vault response, then return this, else raise an exception. Else raise an exception. Raise exception. And what would be the message in the exception? So that we come to know that it has not been connected, failed to get credential, or maybe retrieve credential. It's the same thing. Creds from. Why it is necessary over here? Because if due to any reason, if it is not pulling out the information, at least it tells me that it's stop over here, so that I can check that in this particular block, the issue was there. Okay. Now I use the same connect handler and everything. But again, connect handler, we have seen it, and we have seen there is one small slight problem with it because it is taking too much time. And there's by default, it is not creating a behavior of asynchronous connection. So I'll take an example over here of asynchronous connection as well. So, but I think I need to use the library. Otherwise, it is not going to work for it. The library name is async. Let me try to see if pip3 install is in sy. It's in CO. So requirement already satisfied. I have that. I'm going to import. All right. So before going to connect handler, I want to create, I'll go with the definition or the function, which is asynchronous. So asynchronous function can be created with the keyword async, and rest of the things will be remain same. Simple. So just simply type async yn async. And then start writing your function. So this function would do not configuration. This is taking backup. Okay. Same. I'm going to use same like earlier. I'll go over here. Copy this. Or maybe I can copy entire. It will be easy. All right. So then again, SSH connection. Again, I'll go and copy this. Okay. So we are not doing anything new, right? We just created a function of vault. This will perform the action for me. And over here, I'm using normal username and password. Because why username password? Because now my username and password is changed. That username password will be pulled in the same variable of username password, and then it put is over here. This username password now pulled from not environment variable, it will be pulled from vault in the previous function. Right? In order to run the loop in async, we need to use again try and finally those keywords will be there. So what is showing error? Anyways, maybe finally if I write, then it will not show. Take backup. Then I run a loop of async here. AS. Event loop. It is expecting some arguments. So arguments will be username. And then concurrency limit. This is the main one. The rest of the things are already defined. So concurrency limit, we can give how many concurrent connection you want it to make. Why it is not coming? Concurrency limit. And then define somewhere. Wait. First, I need to define this function. Making mistake. Run in executable. Run in executable. Then device dot send command. Or I have nothing to return. Device dot because now we are sending command, not config set. This time we are making backup, so it will say send command what? Show running config. So running config. All right, we'll save the backup. So backup will be not relevant if there is no some type of file naming convention that at what time the backup has taken. So I'll give a date plus host name in the text so that it will look relevant that it will be taken what time. So for that I'm using formatting. So how to save it? Backup file name. Backup file name would be formatted output. But for that, I think, okay, over here I need to use datetime library also, otherwise it will not pull the datetime. Okay. So it is again Python inbuilt library. So from datetime import datetime. Otherwise it will not be in use. Then go back to your code and give a formatted output. Okay. Then the formatted output will give a formatting in such a way that it will bring out the today's date and plus append it with the device information host name, right? The way we did a configuration in the last previous example. So how we'll write it in a curly braces, I open date time from the date time. I want a date of today. So what is the date now? Then format I have to give for the date time. What kind of format, year, month, and date, you have to provide that format. So it will be like string format time. So regex, I need to give for 1 year hyphen percentage month hyphen percentage. All right. After putting the date time, I want to put the host name this way. device info. Is that a device? But over here, I didn't describe the dictionary, right? It will not pull the device info. Let's see. Everywhere we are using this. Why it is showing error? Okay, sorry, I didn't close the curly brace. That's why. I know. So the device info is not declared. The in the earlier configuration I did. So I'm going to, at the end, I'm going to copy it. So I'll keep it as it is, the variable, and copy and will paste once it is. Hello? Am I audible? Yes, Rahul, as also do automation. So what's the difference between SD-WAN technology and DevNet? You might be joking, Rahul, but but there is a difference in the orchestration. SD-WAN performs orchestration, not the automation, right? It will manage a similar type of device. Automation does. Hello, am I audible? Hello. Hello, someone please confirm. Am I audible?
Yes, yes.
Okay, because it was got disconnected on its own. I don't know. That's why I'm asking. Okay. Let me just share it again. You guys can see the screen, right? Sorry for interruption. So yes, so whoever asked this question, that I told you that there's a basic difference, and the library it's endless, but difficult to answer this. But you can start with NetMiko, Nordnear, and Napalm for legacy connection, and for REST API request. If you master these 4 or 5 libraries and little bit of Ansible, then we are good to start with. Rahul is there in the class. Maybe I can be able to answer your question. Let's move further. So now we create the file name. If you want to print the output of the file, you can also do that. Your call. Okay. So for that, file handling is required. How we can do that? Just now we in the previous example we did with open, right? Let open, and then I'll give, it will expect a file name, which is the name or file, backup file name. And this time we are not reading, we are writing. So we are basically created the file name in this manner, and after that we are writing in that file. Okay. As temporary variable, I said backup file, not file. I change the variable. Okay. And then in order to write it, use the variable dot write. And what do you want to write? Backup output, right? We have created this. This is what you want to write in your, because once it runs the show running command, it will be saved in this temporary variable. After that, I just have created a logic so that my file name looks like this. And then I write that file, write a particular file, which is here inside that file, okay, which is created. So in this manner, we achieve how to write a backup. In this logic, we achieve how to write a backup in a particular file. Now, if it is completed, we need some output, so we can print that backup is completed. Backup of device info hostname is complete. Okay. Is that backup file name? Okay, the file name also, so that you know that after completion where it is going. So this will come to your terminal after completion. All right. So this logic we make it just to introduce Essentio plus you're writing the backup using connect handler in NetBeans. Finally, I will disconnect from SSH. Try and then finally. So try and finally comes together. That's why it was showing error. Now it goes. So disconnect. How to disconnect? Device. After connection and everything is done, device got disconnected, but still we don't have any function written over here. So I'm going to put the main function over here directly. I'm going to copy. Okay. Before that, I'll go over here and I'm copying this. Okay. Not Okay. This is for typecasting. Okay. I convert the variable into list. Okay. Because this asyncio is running on list. So I have to. Then over here, from username. From where it is coming? From here. Right? Lastly, we put it in name. Also, I have given a Rahul, I'll repeat myself. Just give me 5 minutes so that I can complete this code, and then this will be the last. I'll take all the questions if it is all right with you. Thank you. Okay. So then I need to provide over here because I'm using somewhere. No. So one important thing about async I missed here as well. The concurrency limit. If you don't give the concurrency limit, there is no point of having the async IO library to use. So I'll give this function, I'll create a function again for concurrency limit. Concurrency limit. Again, started with async. Definition has to be done for so change the name with the So in semaphore only the concurrency limit set. We're done. Lastly, we have to give okay with semaphore. Wait, wait. All I have to run the your backup. I the run. We have completed main part also as the consideration not important. So I'm going to copy this last line and paste it. Otherwise it will not work. Quite a complex one it becomes because of latent language. Time of course, we will run and see that it is working or not. Let's run it. 5, 3, It's trying to communicate to what, but what has thrown an error? Failed to establish a connection. The reason is new connection error. What is the reason? Raise a deleted version parameter using so maybe the version of the what we're using is has some issue. So let me just copy this. Raise and deleted version. So for this one and because it's a related to version, and that's why it's coming an error. So I make it true, hopefully it will, because it's false and attract 3.0. Will take running, it is maybe run the command, it will take some time. Yes, by the time it will run, if you have any question, you can ask in the chat. Hello. So as we can see, the backup text as the way we are maintaining and the way we are typing is completed. So the username and password what we are using is from Vault, because nowhere I'm using username password as a way of proof. I'm going to delete this. Okay. And then we'll be 100% sure that it will be Vault only. Although it's a Vault because everywhere I use Vault keyword and password only. So hope this has been informative for you guys. If you have any question, you can ask me now. Run the backup. Remove this file. Yes. So Rahul. Rahul asked that what's the difference between SD-WAN and DevNet, and also need to master the data protection algorithm for automation. How much knowledge of Python enough for automation? Depends again, Rahul. If you like in the beginning of the class, I inform the class that you can start initially with Ansible. SD-WAN can be automated with Ansible rather than jumping directly on programming. That's my suggestion. That will be a that will be the starting point for you, stepping stone you can say. And for the amount of knowledge can never be enough. This answer, how much Python knowledge for automation is enough? Uh, Python is a big language. It's like quite enormous amount. Data scientists also use it. Web developers also use it. So just go to the Python, which is related to network automation. Basically, the libraries, what's available, frameworks, what available, and most important to understand the elements of Python, like the data types, what it supports, native data types, what it supports. Data structure is important to understand. Loop, conditional statements, file handling, exception handling, mock UAT test, what Python can perform. Those things you need to master on. Rest, the more you practice, the more you understand. And in order to write such a complex program, you need to know the workflow. That's how it is. If you see module by module, I can use this module in some other. Now I can use this module over here. Rather than using username password OS environment, I can simply just get credential and I can use it over here rather than. Okay. So your call, how you are using. I'll show as an example from backup device file. I want to import get thread from here. So I can use this module now. Get thread from vault. So after that, I can remove this user and password and all, and it will be used over there. Okay, right? So that's the beauty of having what's it? That's the beauty of having a modular approach. You can use your own file as a module because Vault can be used every time. As an example, I have taken. Any question, any more question, guys, please ask or then already over time in this webinar. I'll stop it. Anyone is having any question? Oh. I think you guys can unmute now during the Q&A, no problem. Right? Saurabh, they can unmute themselves or not? All right then. Hope you guys enjoyed this webinar. Over here we covered. Do you recommend any Python training before starting automation training? Of course. So Python training before automation, or you can take it parallelly. Like you can go for Ansible and Python in two separate parallel module classes. So Python for the network engineer will be a separate course, and Ansible will be a separate course, but you can go together. This can be done. The recommendation of the training, you can always be with us. Python for network engineers, we have a course where I have covered all these things, what we like, what we have discussed in a brief manner. Maybe you in this short time, maybe many of you guys not been able to capture it, but trust me, I will get to you in this line by line and get a part of your brain. Saurabh, Rahul, are we done for the day? Shall we stop now? Sir, can fresher get job as automation? or you have to work as a network engineer first. Basically, like Yasin asked, we provide both the code. There will be. I also provide Ansible, basic, advanced Ansible, and all will be covered by some other instructor we have, Deep from I-MEDITA. We have both the courses in place. So it will be started from Python for network engineer, then it will go. If I know some of Python. No, it's not a prerequisite. No. We'll help you out to get to Python first, and then we will be proceeding with the advanced program. Writing code is something else, Sinan, and writing code in a recommended manner is something else. For that, we need to go through the different standard documents, and that will come at the last stage once we are done with the brief portion. Yes. So standard coding is something else. So more standard you will reach, the more efficient you will be. All right. If no one has any question, thank you everyone for joining the session. Hope some of you guys can will register with us and will proceed with the further courses on this. Thank you.